My beloved child, get off scrolling. I, your God, the Lord, am entering your chronology at this precise moment to tell you something that will alter everything. This is your moment, not next year, not when you're ready. This message isn't just any old one. It is a sacred announcement from the throne room of heaven, sent straight to the depths of your spirit. This is a pivotal moment. Pay attention to me from the very first word to the very last breath. Keep clicking. This should not be taken lightly, for the consequences of what I'm going to disclose will determine your fate. This message is brimming with innovation. Furthermore, you will not leave the same if you truly lean in. I've been anticipating this time, have you? Don't miss what I have in store for you in the next few minutes. Your prayers have been answered, and more. Lean in close, my darling child. More intimate than your anxiety, more intimate than your doubt, more intimate than the murmurs that have tried to rob you of your silence. Now, let the voices of all others disappear. Allow the sound of my voice to envelop your spirit like a mantle, drowning out the din of yesterday's disappointments. To meet you at this precise hour, I have long waited, for your heart to soften just a little, for your trust to grow sufficiently, for your hope to spark once more, even if dimly. In the shadows, you were not forgotten. The world was ignoring you, but you were being watched with divine love. I was crouching next to you, counting every breath you took as you were overcome with uncertainty. Even though you believed I was far away, this breath is special. It carries the scent of a promise being fulfilled. I decided to follow through on my word at the appointed moment, not because I was trying to be perfect or perform well, but because it is your turn now. The line separating receiving from waiting is starting to blur. My spirit's breeze is already circling your life. Can you sense it? The stirring in your chest is not anxiety. God has recognized it. Your spirit is aware of things that your mind hasn't yet processed. Now is the time for revelation. The seeds you sowed with tears are starting to sprout through the dirt of delay. The sky is singing. It is not still. In places no human sight can see, your name has been announced. This one waited well, I said before the angels. Your waiting wasn't a penalty, it was preparation. Now I am uncovering what was concealed because you will not leave me in the wilderness. Do not wander in uncertainty any longer. Stretching without vision is over. It's time for unveiling, and I've been deeply invested in the good news. Layers too precise to be coincidence are now releasing the joy I wrapped in divine timing. Something that once seemed far away has drawn near, and it smells like my faithfulness. You, my darling, have never stopped listening for my voice, even amid the silence. So heaven has already started to rejoice, not just over the promise, but over your endurance. Now I speak again, clearly this time, not in mystery. It's your turn. This, my beloved, is not a wish that vanishes with the breeze or a fragile hope chased in the dark. No, it is a heavenly completion, holy, weighty, irrevocable, and descending upon you with authority, not suggestion. I am fulfilling my pledge. I am revealing to the world what I spoke in private seasons. Delay no longer has the upper hand. When the spirit of postponement is overthrown, the paralyzed thing starts to move. Do you hear it? Can you feel the cracking in the sky? Old timelines tremble as I dismantle barriers that once held you back. This is not a gentle prod, it is resurrection's roar. My present-day thunder now silences the murmurs of past doubt. Child, you've waited long and you've waited well. You clung to hope when it was just a flicker in the fog. I am here to face, crush, and clear the path, not to console your delay. Every time the enemy tried to convince you that I had forgotten, I was crafting a pattern too intricate for comprehension, yet not too heavy for your soul to bear. The heaviness you once felt is now being replaced by glory. There's a reason your atmosphere is changing. There has been a collision, my chronology intersecting yours, your perseverance colliding with my promises. When I speak, child, listen. I have never pledged to do something I did not plan to fulfill. Never have I whispered a word I did not intend to bring to life. The divine delay was never denial, it was construction. I was preparing the ground beneath your feet so that the weight of what I am delivering would carry you, not crush you. Do not mistake my silence for abandonment. It was strategy. I was setting the stage, clearing the counterfeits to make room for the authentic to arrive without mixture. You were not forgotten. You were preserved. Like rare oil, fine wine, and a crown saved for the one I could trust to wear it with dignity. Beloved, if you felt God's presence in these words, hold them in your heart and show your faith by clicking super thanks. Your one act could bring life to another soul. Hear me, you will now reap your harvest from the same grounds that mocked your hope. Those very moments that ridiculed your faithfulness will become signs of fulfillment. The delays were loud, but my command is louder. This is not the time for speculation. It is the moment of manifestation. Not a break from me, but a banquet released for you. You are not scrambling to the table, my child. Because you didn't trade your inheritance for comfort, you are being recognized, honored, and guided. You entered in, you waited, you stayed. It was dark while you wrestled with angels, but now light breaks the silence of heaven. I'm releasing sudden alignments, the kind that turn heads and make mountains collapse. A divine movement is revealing the favor I have reserved for you. It will not look like anything you've seen. It will defy pattern, time, logic, and order. This is not consequence. It is covenant. So, my child, inhale this like fire in your bones, not brittle hope. You must now confront every delay that questioned my nature. I never changed my mind, nor erased your future. I am providing what I postponed, both satisfaction and confirmation. You didn't merely survive, you overcame. You went through the fire, and now the promise steps into your life, not limping, but alive. Let the skeptics be silent. Let the clock bow before the one who made time. For your hour is not coming, it is here. Your name was inscribed in the scrolls of eternity before the world began, not in ink, but in flame. Every breath, every moment of your life has echoed through heaven's halls. Your name has been sung by angels like a holy melody. Even in your lowest moments, when you doubted your worth and felt unseen, your name still resounded in heaven. You have no idea how much you mean to me. While the world passed by, people ignored you. Mirrors reflected fatigue instead of value. I was captivated. You were always in my gaze. I never stopped calling you by name. Now the long murmurs have become a roar in your soul. What was whispered in awe is now moving in power. The fulfillment of prophecies once spoken in silence is now unfolding. You are no longer only hearing your name, it is being sent forth, advancing into realms and realities already in motion. Understand this: heaven never whispers lightly. Your name was not just a sound when released from angelic tongues. It was a decree. That decree has now set divine motion in place. People are remembering you. Favor is being reawakened. Dormant doors are opening. What once ignored you is now inviting you. The environment is being shaped by my vision, not yours, not theirs. You were never meant to fit in by shrinking. I was calling you to rise. Every step you take now echoes with heaven's rhythm. Those lost opportunities you feared were redirections of purpose. You were not deserted, you were being staged. The moment has arrived. I, not a man, have opened the door, and no man can close what I have opened. Do not underestimate what is happening around you. Though it may look unremarkable, it is divine. There is no chaos here, only convergence. Every whisper has added substance to your destiny. Every prayer, even murmured faintly, has built a melody of fulfillment. Haven't you felt it? The stirring, the awakening? It is not fantasy, it is not illusion. I am stirring, shifting, releasing. Let me say this with tenderness, child. I am not merely moving for you, I am moving through you. You become the message, you become the sign. Now, your entire life is a living testimony. Those who misjudged you will soon witness what I was building in private all along. This is not just movement, it is momentum wrapped in a miracle. The murmurs have become wind, the wind has become waves, and the waves are carrying your name exactly where it belongs. Do not chase it. Do not force it. Simply stay still in my presence. What's coming is not random, it is rhythmic. Your timeline now aligns with heaven's heartbeat. Before you realize it, you will walk into places that are answers to prayers you forgot you prayed. Heaven never forgets. Every whisper mattered. Every step now echoes those whispers into miracles. It is not only heaven that knows your name, earth is beginning to declare it. So, arise and walk, my child, for what has been echoing is now erupting. I know the silence wounded you, my love. I saw how it thundered in the empty valleys of your heart. I watched your prayers ricochet off the ceiling and return to your weary hands. I saw you searching for signs, hoping each repetition might sound like progress, not pain. But listen to me. I wasn't absent. I wasn't distant. I wasn't indifferent. I was closer than your breath, nearer than your thoughts. Silence doesn't always mean absence. Sometimes it's the sound of strategy. In stillness, my plans take shape. I wasn't withholding blessings. I was perfecting their design. Had I acted a second too early, my timing would have missed its mark. Your suffering in the silence wasn't evidence of abandonment. It was transformation in progress. I was realigning people, approving plans, synchronizing moments, laying foundations. The weight of your assignment required stillness. I had to silence the external so you could recognize my internal voice when I spoke again. Now I am speaking, clearly, powerfully, unmistakably. My silence never signified disinterest. It meant I was active beyond sight. The heavens were not asleep. They were focused. While you thought I was blessing others, I was already constructing your miracle, customizing your breakthrough, fitting every detail of glory to your story. I wasn't merely arranging blessings, I was drafting blueprints. Beyond what your ears could hear, I needed your faith to endure. Yes, it felt lonely. Yes, you questioned the path. But hear this secret. You were never lost. You were led. When it was silent, I was clearing the stage. Each unresolved inquiry served as a sacred stand-in for what I will shortly disclose. I gathered everything, including your bewilderment and rage. I weighed every quiet sacrifice on the scales of eternity, bottled every tear, and treasured every sigh. Because what I am offering you now is culmination, not solace. Furthermore, what I'm doing in your life is too precious to be hurried through or revealed to just anybody. Therefore, stop hating the silence. Replaying it as a punishment is not appropriate. Take a look back at what I shielded you from. Look at the individuals who departed, the plans that fell through, and the roads that closed. They weren't defeats. They were layers of misalignment. I won't allow you to continue that way. Because the platform, the partnership, and the provision I have now aligned for you have weight, eternal weight. And the only soul that could bear such brilliance without breaking was one forged in quiet. The silence was actually strengthening you, even though you felt it was shattering you. Though you believed you had been forgotten, you were actually being shaped. And now that everything is in alignment, I speak, move, shift, and release. Additionally, this time, my voice will not be misheard. It will roar through your situation and tell you that I was always there, even when I was silent. To make this moment irrefutable, I was aligning the impossible. I watched, my darling. I saw you with the intense, flaming eyes of a father who never once turned his head, not the far-off stare of a preoccupied God. When no one else was around, I noticed you. When you were giving, I saw there was no applause. When there was no echo, and you were praying. When the ground appeared empty while you were stitching, you continued to appear. When your hands shook, you kept raising them. Even though your heart could barely whisper, you kept calling my name. You had the option to leave. You had every reason to declare it wasn't worth it and turn your back. However, you didn't. I was your choice. Your spirit refused to betray the truth I ingrained in you before you were born, not because it made sense. And I was moved, child, by that heavenly, trembling, unseen choice. You pressed deeper as the night pressed harder. While others chased the visible, you stood in the invisible. When everything around you cried out, "Run," you remained grounded. I saw your spirit secretly bleed, yet your mouth kept calling me faithful. You didn't do it for praise. You did it for closeness. You had no intention of impressing me. You were trying to keep me, and loyalty like that is uncommon. Devotion like that is laden with grandeur. I captured it all on record, every act of obedience performed without expecting payment. Each time you put holiness ahead of hype, every hour you spent in silent confidence while others displayed their achievements publicly. I wasn't only watching, I was storing it, bearing the burden of your allegiance as seed. And now, with resounding delight, I rain down the harvest. Because, child, you hear me. Your trust was not in vain. Your devotion was not disregarded. Angels leaned in at the sound of your midnight obedience. It reverberated across eternity. I gave them your name. Watch this one, I said. See how they adore me despite the lack of evidence. Observe their blind faith in me. Unbeknownst to you, your shattered hallelujah became a spiritual battle cry. Your persistence became a prophecy. Your stillness became a strategy. And now I'm replying in torrents rather than trickles, not with blessings in drips, but with miraculous downpours that erase all traces of delay. Perfection isn't what brought you this. It was your stance. When others boasted, you bowed. When people rushed, you waited. When cursing me would have been easier, you whispered my name instead. You didn't simply stay. I honor the rooted, and you are rooted. Watch what I do now. See how I change the story. See how I transform your private faith into a public feast. See how I set you in places they said you'd never reach. See how I honor you, not to boast, but to demonstrate my faithfulness. I'm sending now because you stayed. I'm transferring now because you trusted me. I'm not sending fragments. I'm sending fulfillment, not relief as reward, but revelation of your ring. Child, this is your time, not only because the pain has ended, but because your heart has proven it can bear the weight of my goodness. Others didn't even notice you passing the test. What only heaven could give, your hands will now grasp. Because I never forgot seeing you when no one else did. Your yes did not vanish into thin air, my darling. It was not wasted in silence or absorbed by time. No, child, heaven was shaken by your magnificent sacrifice. More weight was carried by that one trembling decision than by 1,000 easy declarations. Your affirmative response opened a spiritual portal. It triggered divine commands, angelic movement, ancient doors, and a cascade of reactions now being revealed with heavenly precision. You thought it was a little thing, a silent whisper between us, a brief moment of obedience unnoticed by others. But it was a trumpet blast in my realm, a seismic shift in the unseen. Your yes shook the dust off dormant promises. It cut through the haze of fear. The darkness was reminded that you still belonged to the light. You said yes when you could have said maybe. You said I'll go when not yet would have been safer. And I create legacies out of that kind of yes, unvarnished, unpolished, courageous yes. Even if the full effects aren't visible yet, things have already begun to move. Favor is chasing you. Doors are trembling on their hinges because your yes opened a portal that only surrender can access. What seemed unchangeable is now being stirred. Assignments have been delivered. Your name will soon be spoken with honor by people who don't even know why they're thinking of you. You're entering rooms that were once inaccessible. Resources are being redirected. Strategies are shifting. Atmospheres are aligning. You proved your heart was mine by saying yes, even when it cost you everything. Let me explain. You didn't merely agree with an idea, you accepted your identity. You chose covenant over comfort, and that commitment cannot be broken. That yes was more than a statement. It was worship. It was warfare. It was spoken in the solitude of surrender, not the spotlight of success. And now I respond with both blueprint and blessing. With your yes, I am creating something irreversible. I'm covering your path with favor, giving purpose to every delay, and weaving divine appointments into the fabric of your destiny. I'm not just rewarding obedience, I'm amplifying it, not for praise but for impact. I'm widening your audience, increasing your authority, and expanding your influence, not for show but for destiny. So don't question what you've triggered, and don't run from what's unfolding. Your yes was movement. The kingdom echoes now. When the tempo accelerates, don't be startled. When things that once took years start happening in days, don't panic. It's not random, it's result. The divinely orchestrated outcome of a soul that truly meant its yes, Lord. You are not accidentally favored. You are stepping into what your surrender activated. And in ways eyes haven't seen, ears haven't heard, and minds haven't conceived, I, the author, the builder, the Almighty, am honoring that yes, you didn't merely obey, you opened what can never be closed. I wish I could show you what I saved you from, the things you thought I was withholding. You assumed I closed those doors to punish you. Child, they weren't rejections, they were redirections. They were mercies. I saw your heart break over missed opportunities, failed partnerships, postponed dreams. I heard your cries, your burning questions. Why not me? Why now? Why never? But whenever you thought I said no, I was whispering, not yet. It wasn't because you weren't worthy. It wasn't because I overlooked you. It was because I love you too much to give before your spirit was ready to carry it. I knew what lay ahead, what you couldn't see, I saw. So I upheld the process to protect the promise. You thought they left because they didn't value you, but I removed them because they couldn't handle your gift. You thought failure meant the chance had passed, but the timing would have spoiled what I preserved for you. You grieved what didn't happen, unaware that I was hiding something better behind delay's veil. You sat in ashes, believing your destiny burned with disappointment. It wasn't destroyed. It was refined. And now, though scars still heal and tears still sting, hear me. The greatest was never denied. It was protected, set apart until your soul could bear its splendor without breaking. Some blessings can't come early. Some glory requires maturity. I couldn't give you what you prayed for then. The world around you couldn't contain it. I had to increase your capacity, strengthen your roots, and secure your trust beyond comfort. I was protecting you from counterfeit comforts and fleeting victories that could ruin your future. Every no was a yes to something greater. Every locked door was me guarding what you didn't yet know to ask for. Now I opened the vault. While the world rushed, I preserved what was sacred. You learned to trust me in silence while I held plans in secrecy. When your spirit was ready for the next chapter, I leaned in and whispered, "You didn't miss it." They were molding you for it. Now it fits, like design, like destiny, like a key in its lock. The season of protection ends. The season of presentation begins. And you'll realize I never turned you down. You'll cry, overwhelmed with joy, because I shielded, not shunned you. I waited with you. Now, with strength no storm can shake and a story no one else can take, you will enter the room I built behind closed doors. Prepare yourself, my child, for blessings, not burdens. There are multiple open doors for what I release into your life now. It's raining from heaven. I'm doing more than opening doors. I'm creating connections, alignments, and wonders no human hand could orchestrate. The season of trickling is over. You're beyond the barely days. It's orchestration, not effort, bringing you into overflow. My orchestration breaks logic, defies norms, and provides beyond imagination. I'm not opening doors on hinges of hope. I'm building highways of heaven that collide with your history in divine precision. You waited for one opportunity, prayed for a crack in the wall, but I'm demolishing entire gates. I'm not granting you access. I'm making you access. You become the door through which others will walk. What I'm pouring into your life will overflow into every soul linked to your obedience. And this flow will not be subtle. It will be supernatural. It won't whisper. It will thunder through. I'm unlocking realms you didn't know existed. Unseen opportunities are rushing toward you, not by connection or resume, but by my reach. My reach defies protocol and pedigree, algorithms and acclaim. This release will inspire wonder and silence doubt. No man can claim it and no devil can stop it. The stage is set, the atmosphere charged. I come not with a key but with a battering ram. Patterns that held you back are breaking. Barriers are falling. Delays are dismantled. This isn't climbing a ladder. It's riding a holy wave of fulfillment that gathered strength while you waited. And it's here now. Do you feel it? The atmosphere has shifted. The pressure has changed. It's not anxiety that you've been feeling heavy. It's accelerating. It's not crushing you. They're launching you. We're not ignoring you. They're passing you. I've witnessed how you remained devoted even when it seemed like nothing was happening. And now I'm moving everything at once because you persevered. There won't be any untouched areas. Your calling, your family, your finances, and your creativity. The divine alignment of all the pieces is about to occur. Thus be ready for more than just change. Be ready for a collision. Heaven and your past are colliding. Your timeline is colliding with glory. Grace is colliding with your steps. None of this can be manufactured by man. I didn't need a network. I didn't require a platform. I needed your yes. Now that I have it, I am flooding your life with doors, not to confuse you, but to confirm me. You'll know which ones to walk through. My peace will be your compass. My voice will be your clarity. And as you move, you'll discover that this flood is not overwhelming. It's orchestrated. What felt delayed was only being divinely distributed. Now, beloved, the doors will swing open without warning, and they will remain open by my decree. For I have not just come to bless you with an entrance, I have come to install you as a gate. Every drop mattered below, every tear you wept in solitary, every moan too sacred for language. Every night you turned your face to the wall and whispered my name with cracked breath. I collected them all. Not a single one was wasted. I saw them. I felt them. I put them in my holy vault. Each one a seed drenched with honesty. Each one a petition drenched with grief. Though no one noticed you, though the world passed by unknowing, I was there on the floor with you, in the silence alongside you, stroking each tear off your cheek like dew from the grass at dawn. You felt they were indications of weakness, but in heaven's economy, tears are currency, and yours bought a harvest unlike anything you could have imagined. The dirt that looked barren is now cracking. The ground that felt dead is suddenly blossoming with magnificence. Every tear that hit the earth was watering something invisible, something intentional, something immortal. I was planting when you believed you were losing. I was increasing what will grow, while you lamented what didn't. I was fertilizing what would grow, while you were crying over what had withered. The moment has finally arrived for a breakthrough. There will be no mild harvest this year. It will be amazing. It won't trickle. It will win. You will soon be dancing on the same ground where you previously grieved. Now, the same earth that took in your suffering will burst out with plenty. You have to realize that I did not ignore your suffering. I was in charge of its goal. Your tears become testament to me. I turn your grief into dirt. And it's not simply beauty that's emerging now, it is vindication. You sowed in silence, and you will reap in joy. In the fields where you once cried in terror, you will laugh. Eventually, others who have never witnessed your sorrow will see your unexpected blossom. Where did this come from? They will inquire. You'll also know. You'll recall. Because the miracle's shape matches the curve of your cries, you will be able to identify it. This growth isn't arbitrary, it's restoration. This success isn't extraordinary. This is the manifestation of a watery sacrifice. So, warrior wet in tears, raise your head now. Raise your gaze to the harvest as well as the hills, because it is not coming, it is not on its way, it is here. There's a lot of breakthrough in the air around you. It almost smells, the aroma of contentment, the aroma of a sacred thing emerging. The weeper turns into the reaper in this chapter. At this point, heaven returns power rather than just a portion of it. In the daylight of my vow, your tears, the ones that fell in secret, will suddenly sparkle like diamonds. They were invested, not simply shed. Like a river, the return is coming in. Let me state this unequivocally and simply, my dear child. Performance is not being honored by me. I'm celebrating tenacity. The fact that you never lost your identity in the interim, rather than having accomplished some earthly milestone, is what makes this moment so significant. While others changed to survive, you remain true to yourself, not flawlessly, but constantly. You didn't stray from who I said you were. When the stillness dragged on, you didn't sell out. When storms roared, you didn't cower. When the fire grew stronger, you remained intact. You stayed. This moment now holds power, not the transient sort that impresses man, but the everlasting kind that moves angels. Because of the position you maintained through pain. This season's burden is not a punishment. When heaven remembers your faith while the world forgot your name, it is a reward for who you became. You didn't change to appease the crowd when the demand increased. You prevented private conviction from being overshadowed by public confusion. When I called you to holiness, you didn't just survive, They squeezed you. You were squeezed, oh, however worship flowed out of you. You whispered my name out of hunger, not habit, even as tears soaked your pillow and prayers poured from parched lips. Convenience might have caused you to collapse. You had the option to change your vocation to fit the culture, but you chose to stay with me. You didn't pretend to be strong. You made a surrender offer. You didn't conceal your injuries. You presented them to me like sacrifices, akin to incense emanating from a shattered altar. That sacrifice has now arrived at my throne, kid. I've breathed my favor and inhaled your honesty. Know this, you weren't meant to be canceled by the crushing. To consecrate you, it was sent. Pressure, so the saying goes, shows your boundaries. However, I believe that pressure exposes your legacy. What you went through behind closed doors will suddenly have public relevance. I'm not putting too much pressure on myself to break you again right now. It's to validate you. Because you persevered for it, rather than because you earned it, you are strolling into favor. You didn't merely have faith in me, you allowed me to tear you apart and reconstruct you in secret, layer by layer. While everyone else was pursuing platforms, you agreed to prune. Applause would have shaped your ego. You let me shape your spirit instead. This is the reason this moment is sacred, because you were able to be made complete after being concealed for a long time. Don't lose sight of your roots as the spotlight starts to move in your favor. Keep in mind, who you've been when no one was looking is what gives this moment significance, not who is watching you. Because I can now trust you to care for people, carry glory, and carry my name with the compassion of someone who has been forged in fire. I have trusted you with crushing. You took your time releasing it. Your process wasn't skipped. He stayed. I now proclaim that this moment is laden with divine inheritance. You aren't entering a highlight. You are entering sacred history. Because you are prepared for the crown because of who you stayed in the smashing. Child, I never asked you to be perfect. I prayed for your faithfulness. You were too, not because you were perfect, but rather because you persisted in staying put, even when things didn't feel right. Despite your fatigue, wounds, and weariness, you continued to show up. Your hope was dragged across arid terrain. When others danced, you limped into the prayer room. Even though all they could see was fog, you raised your eyes. And I care about that. Man's metrics are not what I use to measure. I don't use your victories to determine your value. I consider the times when nobody cheered, when you remained despite the quiet, when you trusted despite the trauma, when you believed despite the collapse. You believed that you had to do it perfectly. What touched me, though, was your perseverance in the face of adversity. I see it, even though others might not. Instead of retaliating, I witnessed you bite your tongue. When the land appeared to be bare, I saw you. I witnessed you turn off chances that would have improved your reputation but broken your spirit. I witnessed the exchanges you could have used as weapons but chose to give up. I witnessed your sincere apologies despite being misinterpreted. That's tenacity. That's what purity is. I reward that kind of heart with heaven's acceleration rather than material attention. Now I'm reacting to your personal perseverance rather than your policy moments or picture-perfect posts. The kind of spiritual endurance that creates history rather than headlines. You carried crosses rather than climbing ladders. You pursued alignment rather than acclaim. You've reached this point because of your decision and your gracefully wrapped grit. Your endurance is what unlocks what I'm releasing today, not your perfection. When it would have been easy to leave, you stayed. When there was no assurance of a return, you donated. Like a promise fulfilled rather than a salary, the return is racing at you. I'm not paying you back the way a boss pays an employee. In the same way that a father elevates a kid who has trusted him, I am crowning you. You didn't perform, not even in the dark. You persisted. For that reason, heaven's windows are firmly and definitively opening over your life. So, child, pay close attention. You have mastered the formula, but it doesn't mean you are entering into favor. Because you stuck by me during the flood, you are entering this season. I've seen you question, yell, cry, wobble, and still walk. Continue to kneel. Even if you didn't comprehend, you still said, "Yes, Lord." That is what I respect. What I bless is that platforms for the ideal are not what I'm creating. I'm leaving a legacy in the lives of people who refuse to let go. I didn't forget. You didn't give up. Spread your arms wide then. This is not your prize for being perfect. You inherited this as a reward for your loyalty. My fingerprints will be on whatever comes next, as a banner of my promise to those who persevere, not as evidence of your strength. If only you understood what your faith from me looked like, my dear. I didn't miss the times that were hectic and puzzling to you. You didn't realize how close I held those moments. You gave me fragments of your life that were complicated, incomplete, and even confusing to you. You didn't ask for clarification. You didn't demand command. You didn't label it faith and wrap your life in pretentious prayers. Rather, you offered me what was honest, unadulterated, and directed. The heartbreak was given to me by you. You were unable to justify the weight. You were unable to interpret the loss. You were unable to label. You put it in my hands and muttered, "I still trust you," instead of fleeing the disaster. The murmur, "Child," the heavens were ripped open by that whisper. You see, when nothing makes sense, a different kind of trust emerges, the kind that is carved out of surrender rather than clarity. And you handed me this. You trusted me with more than just what you knew. You put your trust in me to answer the questions you were never able to. "Hear God gone," you said. "Accept it." Yes, even if I'll never understand why that kind of faith is so powerful. It moves me more than that, though. I saw you make charred offerings out of your broken chapters, requesting just my proximity. You didn't barter, you weren't manipulative, you simply had faith. You went deeper when it would have been simpler to leave. Your moment has arrived as a result of your holy sacrifice. Your story has been like a holy scroll in my hands. Every sigh, every phrase, and every pause was noted. You were unaware that every perplexing period you went through was subtly linked to future revelation from God. There was no waste. Something was being cut off by the quiet. The uncertainty was hiding your calling's choreography. There was never anything that didn't make sense. It was holy. Because faith may say yes without knowing all the details. You demonstrated that. You trusted me with the details that you couldn't even explain to yourself. I didn't have to make sense to you. All you needed was for me to stay, and I did. I never went away. Now, I made an announcement and went back to that place of surrender. I'm transforming the ambiguity into clarity. I'm saving the unsaid sorrow. The exact aspects of your life that you believed I had forgotten are being repurposed by me. Pay close attention, child. This is not a chance moment. There is a purpose to this season. Only those who trusted me without a map were allowed to use it. Because your trust went beyond comfort, the time has come for you. I'm not merely paying tribute to your tale, I'm going to reveal it. I'm revealing all of the secrets you've concealed. I'm going to show you why it had to happen that way. Now, what seemed like a disjointed puzzle will come together. The center of revelation will be where you stand. You diligently gave up what didn't make sense, not because you found it out. I respect that type of faith. That's the kind of heart I go for. I honor that type of confidence. I got your turmoil from you. I'll offer you clarification now. It's your turn now. I simply told you that you are not running behind schedule. You're on time. I want to know if you, child, will spread that same good news to other people. I want to use you to awaken others, just as I sent this word to awaken you. Giving goes beyond simply endorsing a video. You are stitching into the sound of souls being recovered, the sound of liberation, and the sound of divine timing. Every PayPal seed, membership, and special thank you is like putting oil on the fire I'm starting all around the world. I said it over you once again after declaring it in my word. Those who revitalize others will also be revitalized. Proverbs 11:25. This goes beyond simple kindness. Kingdom cooperation is what this is. I grant favor in accordance with your trust when you follow my spirit. I am going to multiply it. I am going to mark it. With that, I'll be able to speak more clearly than your feet ever could. Don't delay. Don't wait. Give now and see how I return it in ways you never thought possible. Allow me to return you to the waiting area. Yes, that long, silent passageway of time where everything inside of you pleaded for a breakthrough and nothing seemed to move. Remember? Yes, I do. You swallowed every ache and every minute of it. You looked into stillness every time, questioning whether I had forgotten, but I was writing while you waited. If only you could see the scrolls, child. In those precious spaces between your tears, I penned something that I wish you could read. I was writing more than just responses. Glory was being engraved by me. Not superficial solutions, not fast cures. Glory, a kind that changes your life, not simply touches it. The kind that not only alters your situation, but also changes the atmosphere, creates new timelines, and brings back generations. Unbeknownst to you, each moment you remained motionless in your faith allowed me to compose something more profound than you could have ever imagined. And I took my time to make it precisely right for you, not to torture you. I took my time with the plot. Since glory needs a gap, I didn't skip the battle. The silence, the empty space, and the waiting are necessary for glory. I didn't want to fill it fast, I could have, but my intention was to flood it, not with placatory responses, but with multiplicative grandeur. You see, my involvement in your life is more than just a superficial fix. It's a symphony of the supernatural. While you were crying, I was writing. When you were in pain, I was writing. The moment has arrived to unveil what was concealed throughout the waiting period. You mistook the quiet for emptiness, but it was actually a vault. I was keeping things in that vault that were too heavy for you at the time. Because glory has weight, I delayed not to frustrate you, but to strengthen you. You had to develop the strength to carry it, and you have. The person who started this weight is no longer you. You're deeper. You are well defined. You'll see that I wasn't stalling as I start to reveal what I've written. I was scripting. I wasn't trying to ignore you. I was deeply involved in all the details you couldn't see. And you will learn, child, that my grandeur does not come in silence. It makes an announcement. It dismantles obstacles. It seeks attention for validation, not conceit. Because no one will be able to claim you did it alone once you enter what I've written. It will be too divine for fingerprints. It was too well timed. The outcome was too extraordinary to have been planned. Now what I wrote in the dark will be illuminated. In your story, the glory that has been developing in the voids is ready to take center stage. I wrote while you waited. You trusted me, and I changed everything. And now, my glory bursts forth, to make beauty out of your weight, not to explain it. I was sacred, but you felt I was slow. I wasn't just writing what you wanted. I was writing what you didn't even realize you needed. And the pages turn now, child. The light goes on, a scene changes, and your life, the one you believe to be motionless, will now bear witness to my kindness, because I was writing glory while you were waiting. Let's take a moment, child, to return to the prayers you whispered when your voice faltered. You hardly dared to believe them. Remember them? I do, though perhaps you don't. When your hands were tired, you offered them. Your hope was dwindling, and your heart was heavy. You didn't believe they mattered. You didn't think they moved me. However, every word was written down, gathered and held in my hands. I remembered what you asked for, even if you forgot. Since you did not pray for comfort, you prayed for encounter. You didn't ask for superficial blessings in your prayer. You begged for profound divine transformation. I've been weaving those unseen prayers into a tapestry of holy manifestation while you've been going about your days, doing your best to survive. And the moment has arrived. You believed that silence had buried those seeds, but I assure you, they were planted in hallowed ground. I saw roots growing when others saw nothing. I rejoiced in the depth of your trust while the enemy ridiculed the lack of fruit. When I took the spotlight away, you still chose me. When the cheers stopped, you chose me. You surrendered company, clarity, and comfort to gain allegiance. Heaven noticed. My child, if these words make your heart feel my presence, then take this message to those who need it and share it with your friends and family. Subscribe to the channel and join us on this journey. Amen.